Do you know someone who suffers from environmental or seasonal allergies? I'm sure that you do. Maybe it's even you or your kiddo. Allergy sufferers can have a wide variety of symptoms, including, but definitely not limited to, sneezing, coughing, runny nose, nasal congestion, itchy, watery eyes, fatigue, headaches, wheezing, rashes, itchy skin, dark under-eye circles, hives, and on and on and on. One thing I wonder, though, is why do so many people suffer with these symptoms? In 2021, over 81 million people in the United States were living with a diagnosis of seasonal allergies. That's approximately 26% of adults and 19% of children. Next time you go into a drugstore, look at the allergy medicine section. Like, I've been in a drugstore so many times and looked at this section so many times that I almost don't notice it, but it is a big section. Like, there are a lot of over-the-counter medications for dealing with allergies. In 2017, Claritin and Zyrtec sold almost $600 million in tablets. The global Nasal Antihistamine Market was projected to total in the U.S. $1.9 billion in 2021. That is crazy. Environmental allergies develop when the body's immune system recognizes and overreacts to things like pollens, dust, animal dander, mold, things that typically don't cause a reaction in most people, yet in some people, for some reason, they do. Studies from 2016 and 2018 discuss the reason why people suffer from allergies. And it says that factors such as hygiene, which is being super sterile, and a lack of exposure to microbial factors, other things like composition of the intestinal microbiome, your diet, obesity, vitamin D, environmental chemical exposure, all of these things have been proposed to contribute to this alarming rise in the rate of allergies in countries with a westernized lifestyle. Not only are we removing ourselves from the beneficial bacteria in nature, but we are replacing it with super sterilized environments and immune and gut compromising lifestyles. It's spring when I'm recording this. So many people are suffering from symptoms due to allergies. It's definitely affecting quality of life. So today we're going to talk about some things that you can do to get some quick relief from those symptoms. But we are also going to think about long-term solutions. I'll share about my son's journey with allergies. He used to have year-round allergy symptoms, but now he doesn't. So what do you think? Can environmental and seasonal allergies be healed? Welcome to the Daily Wellness Podcast, where you can learn about healthy living and be inspired to take the next step in your wellness journey. Before we get started, I have a couple of disclaimers for you. The first one is that none of this should be taken as medical advice, and it's always a good idea to consult your doctor before changing any of your health routines or starting new supplements. The second disclaimer is that when we're talking about allergies in this episode, we're talking about seasonal or environmental allergies and not food allergies. So with that, let's get started. I personally have not ever suffered with seasonal or environmental allergies or pet allergies. So when I think about this, I'm thinking of it in terms of what I would do if it were me. But I can also speak to this as to what I would do if this is my kids, because my kids have had allergies. My oldest has not had any allergies like this. My two boys in the middle have both had environmental allergies as well as dust allergies, and one of them has allergies to cats. They've actually both grown out of it a little bit as they've gotten older, but one more than the other, and the one who still hung on to those allergies the longest was also our son, who was diagnosed with Lyme disease. So all of this kind of came to a head for me last year in 2022 when our son was diagnosed with Lyme disease. He had been struggling for about a year with the symptoms of Lyme disease, and we didn't know what it was at the time. But he had also been suffering for years with all of these seasonal allergies. So I knew that I wanted to address his allergies at some point by really trying to heal them and make it so that he wasn't suffering with those anymore. But I just hadn't been ready to take the leap into doing that. I hadn't been ready to put the hard work in, either for myself or for him. But when this was coupled with Lyme disease for him, I'm like, okay, this is our chance to really think about both of these issues and see if we can heal you. So I'm going to share a little bit more of his specific story toward the end of this episode, but I want to back up a little bit and think about this a little bit more broadly or generally, not just specific to him. So I want to think about what are some things that you can do, some natural things that you can do other than taking prescription medications, over-the-counter medications, and things like that. What are some things that you can do to naturally improve your allergies? And we can think about this as things that will help us in the short term, things that will just relieve some of the symptoms so that I can just breathe through my nose, right? Or we can think about it long term and what is going to give me that long term lasting relief, even maybe start to heal me of some of these allergies. So we're going to start with talking about some things that you can implement immediately in your life and see some quick results from. So if you're struggling with environmental allergies, symptoms are going to worsen when your allergens emerge into your environment, right? And if your allergens, things like dust, pollen, pet dander, get on you, obviously that is going to make things worse. One really simple thing that you can start doing is just taking your shoes off at the door. Do not wear shoes into the house. It keeps everything cleaner in general, but it reduces the amount of allergens that you're bringing into your home from the outside. Second, along those same lines, is you can change your clothes. When you get in your house, you can change. Even if you have time or if you think it's that severe, you could even shower and rinse off when you get inside your house just to get those physical allergens off of your body and anything that's on your clothes off of your body. Another simple thing that you can do right away to improve the environment around you is to dust. Dust really well. Think top to bottom, all over your house, get as much dust out as you can, because dust can be any number of things. It can be, some dirt, but it's also allergens. It can be pollen. It can be pet dander. It can be dead skin cells. It can be fecal matter. It can be dust mites. All these things that people are allergic to reside in dust. And I know people hate dusting, but it is really important for the air quality in your home. Dust gets on everything. So dust all of the furniture and the decorations, sweep and vacuum the floors, dust the walls, which is something I didn't even know needed to be done until an allergy doctor suggested it to me. And don't forget about the baseboards and the trim. Make sure that when you're dusting, you don't use harsh chemicals to clean. So, harsh chemicals can actually be another allergen or trigger allergies and asthma. Don't use dusting sprays that leave a residue that can even attract more dust. So get a good quality dusting mitt that truly grabs the dust and doesn't push it around. I'll try to link some things in the show notes that I use around our house. Dust also gets on your big pieces of furniture that can't really be washed, things like your couch or your mattress. Dust builds up in those things, and I found a great product that I think is really unique called a mattress cleaner. It's actually an enzyme-based formula that deteriorates organic matter inside of those big pieces of furniture. So I'm going to link that in the show notes as well, because it is something that has really helped in our household. These next couple of ideas are also really quick, really easy, but you might need to gather some supplies for these, okay? So the first one is doing nasal irrigation. So when you are just going about your life, inside or outside, you can start to get those allergens actually inside your nasal passages. And so rinsing it out with some kind of nasal irrigation is super helpful. It can actually kind of help on the front side of it to make your allergies not get bad. And then it can help also at the end of the day, when you've already been exposed to all the things. We have been using NeilMed sinus rinse in our house for a long time. I know some people like neti pots. But like I said, we've had that sinus rinse for many years. We actually had our kids start using it when they were pretty young. So as long as they can tolerate that, water going in and out of their nose, you can help them learn how to use it. But it can help just knock those allergens out of your sinuses. And it can also help prevent sinus infections. If you're already congested and struggling with that nasal drip, you want to prevent, that sinus infection. So this can help get that cleaned out. You want to purify and clean your air. We invested in an air purifier for our home, and we have loved it. It's crazy the amount of stuff that thing can get. We use the Air Doctor, which a lot of you have probably heard of, but you can look it up or you can check the show notes if you want more info on it. But it captures ultrafine airborne contaminants like dust, pollen, mold spores, smoke, pet hair, dander, bacteria, viruses. You get the idea, right? And it's really great. It has a lot of great features. You can set it on an auto setting where it will kind of detect the air around it and kick it up a notch if it needs to, or knock it down when it's, the air is not too bad. You can dim the lights so that if you're using it in a bedroom that you don't have extra light in the room. A lot of great features, and you just change out the filters once in a while. Super easy to use. You don't even have to think about it that much. These next ideas are something that could potentially take a bit more time to see results from, and they have to do with your diet. Have you ever heard of local honey helping with allergies? Probably so, because it's become a pretty well-known benefit, but you should really start consuming this several weeks before your allergies typically start appearing. Like that would be ideal. So if you always have allergies appearing in April, go back a few months in January, early February, start taking that raw local honey, like a spoonful a day. And then when it hits, like I would up it for my sons to take a couple tablespoons a day. They never minded that. It always tastes so good. But getting it local is really important for it to be beneficial to your specific allergies if we're talking about environmental allergies. Along with that, you can actually get more natural antihistamines in you by eating them. I know it's really common to take antihistamines for allergies, but you can actually eat your antihistamines. You can get them by eating more vitamin C and quercetin-rich foods. So quercetin is an antioxidant that kind of naturally helps you control those allergy symptoms, helps to fight inflammation, and it can be found in things like onions and apples and berries. Vitamin C, also you guys are very familiar with, but it's found in things like berries and greens and citrus fruits. You can look for these things in supplements as well, but it's always great to get them in whole food form so that it's bioavailable to you and your body is absorbing all of those nutrients. I think it would be an excellent idea to also look at homeopathic remedies and herbal remedies to help when you're really suffering from those allergy symptoms. This is honestly something I didn't do a lot with my sons just because at the time it wasn't something that I was very knowledgeable about. And, you just have so much capacity to do so many things. But I have been reading lately about some great herbal and homeopathic remedies. And so I think that's really worth looking into. Okay, so all of these short-term solutions are great for giving you some relief, but it's really important to talk about long-term solutions. When something isn't right in your body, it might be common for you to have these allergy symptoms every year, but it's not normal, right, for our body to have that kind of immune response. So it's really good to ask yourself the question of what is causing this to happen in me, right? To find out the root cause of those issues, which in this case, we're talking about allergies. So when it comes to allergies, one thing that I have learned to take a closer look at is gut health. And so I'll go back to Judah's story for a little bit. That's our son that I talked about earlier that had Lyme disease and as well as environmental, dust, and pet allergies. So a lot of things stacked against him. But he would have seasons where he could not breathe through his nose at all. He was constantly carrying around a tissue box, sneezing, real congested, would get a headache sometimes. Thankfully, his never developed into any asthmatic symptoms. But I know it was just really uncomfortable. That's not a good quality of life to just have to constantly carry around a tissue box. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. So I had heard for many years that with allergies, it's really good to look at your gut health if you want to have some long-term, even permanent relief from those allergy symptoms. Addressing gut health isn't always easy. And he was a kid. And so I'm like, I've got to be motivated, but he's also got to be motivated to work on this and stick with it. And I just didn't get to that point until we had those multiple layers of issues where he was struggling with allergies and the Lyme disease pain and all these. I'm like, okay, we are going to buckle down and work on this. Because of the pain symptoms he was having, we started working with a functional medicine doctor last year for him in early 2022 and got some testing done with the functional medicine doctor. We worked with him to come up with a supplement plan. We worked on him to address and really heal and strengthen Judah's gut health and his immune health. So we had a lot of guidance on this, which I would highly recommend if you are looking to seriously address your gut health. Having some testing done can be the difference between whether or not this really works for you or not, and then having someone guide you through the right process that is right for you. Because you can go out and buy gut health supplements and do all these different things, but if it's not really what your body needs specifically, it could take way longer than it's really supposed to, or it could just not really work for you. So he started on a really strict diet that was anti-inflammatory. So we were addressing the diet issue. He was taking supplements that his body specifically needed according to the test results that we got. We were working on, some supplements and things to treat specifically his Lyme disease. And as we did that, sure enough, the months went by. Not only were his Lyme disease symptoms getting much better, but his allergy symptoms were getting better and better and better. Less and less Kleenexes. That's better for the budget too. That's great. But I could just tell, oh my goodness, you're not blowing your nose. Oh my goodness, you can breathe through your nose. Show me how you can do it. We were all so excited because he had just lived for so long, suffering with those symptoms. It was so encouraging to see his body healing. So the question of whether or not you can really heal your allergies is debated, and some people listening to this might not really like me talking about allergies being able to be healed. I don't know. But I'm just saying, from our experience, this is what's happening, right? When we looked at his overall health, addressed his gut health, addressed his immune health, got his body where the inflammation was down and his body could heal, his allergy symptoms have gone away. And the only time I've noticed them coming back is when we are in sometimes a new environment. For example, we went and we were staying at a hotel for a few nights, and every time we walked into that hotel room, he would start sneezing. And it was a pretty new building, so I'm like, I don't really know that it's dust or whatnot. Maybe it was, but it could have just been a cleaning product that they had been using in the room, or who knows what. But there was a little something that he reacted to there. And then one time we were in a house that was really old, and I knew there was a lot of dust in there, and he had a few allergy symptoms then. But that's nothing compared to what he has gone through in the past. So maybe we still have a little bit of work to do there, but it's so much better, night and day difference of where he used to be and where he is now. So just to go back a little bit to that discussion of gut health, because some of you might be wondering how that works. So a healthy gut is crucial to a healthy immune system, right? And environmental allergies involve an immune system overreaction. So that is really what that connection is there. A healthy gut would ideally be maintained by a healthy diet. But often it's more complicated because we are each individual people with our own unique health situations. It's often more complicated than just eating a healthy diet. And it's best to talk to your doctor or practitioner for guidance. So I want to leave this episode making sure that you know that, and just encourage you to reach out to your doctor or practitioner and find someone that's willing to help you at least try. I've talked to so many friends and acquaintances that have said, well, every year I just have to do this or that. And I'm just thinking, what if you found a doctor that was willing to work with you and at least try to heal your allergies so that next year you didn't have to do the things that you usually have to do, right? For your allergies. You don't have to take so much medicine. You don't have to have so many symptoms. You don't have to, really lose some quality of life because of what these allergy reactions and symptoms are doing to you. So I just hope that in listening to all of this, that you've gained some practical tips for relieving some of those allergy symptoms right away, because I know this is that time of year when so many people are struggling with that. But I also hope that it leaves you with some encouragement and hope that maybe my life doesn't have to be dominated by my allergies, either at a certain time of year, or for some people it's all year. Like my son, because his was dust and pet and all the things, it was really almost all year round for him. So I hope that this leaves you with hope, because if chronic disease can be reversed, then why can't chronic allergies? Nanimus, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to leave a review on the Apple Podcast app. The review said the podcast was well done and interesting, liked how the whole family is involved and learning. Your kind words are so much appreciated. Thanks for listening to today's episode on the Daily Wellness Podcast. We hope that you found it helpful for your own wellness journey. And if so, we'd love for you to leave a review. Then come back and listen for review shoutouts on upcoming episodes. For more information, check out the show notes and connect with us on our website, dailywellnesscommunity.com.